since I got word that Brother Debo L. Taylor had passed away. So it's been about a week, and hey, it is what it is. And I want to say big shout out to those who definitely gave me a call, letting them know that they understood, how I felt. And with that being said, I want to say I appreciate you, brothers of the craft, and including my sisters of the order. So today we're going to talk about the initiation of Christ. Yeah, we're going to talk about the initiation of Christ. And some of you are probably saying, how do you figure Christ was initiated? Where did you get that from? Well, I'll tell you this. From my reading and from things that I've come across, it begs to differ. You know that there was 16 other crucified Christs or Messiahs before this one. Hear me clearly. This is public information that you can go and look up for yourself. Good day to you. There were 16 other crucified Messiahs or Christ before the one we are now calling Jesus Christ. And with that being said, you have to go back and do some digging for yourself and understand, how do we get to this particular point? I will share this with you. In the text, in the scripture, it tells you that in the earlier days of the child Christ, that his family, his family, they found him in the talking to the high priest. He was in the temples. That's where they found him at. And he was being mentored by those. And he also found himself teachings. Good evening. What's going on there, Leslie? Great to have you on. I appreciate that. Who else is that? King Morpheus. What's going on, bruh? Pleasure's all mine. So what we're finding is that this child Christ was being prepared to be something great. Now, let's have an understanding. We know that this thing has been written down multiple times. This is not the first time that this story about Christ has ever been told. This is written down. This is facts. This is not something I'm trying to give you and blow and say, oh, no. This is fact. This is not the first time this story has ever been told. However, today we're sticking with the mere fact of the initiation of Christ. That's what we're talking about today. So to those of you who are just coming on, I'm just getting into this real good. Hey, King Moose, appreciate it, bruh. Appreciate you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that offering. I really do appreciate it. So we're talking about the initiation of Christ. And some of you are asking, well, how do you figure that he was initiated? I'm going to share with you some of the things that you should actually go and take a look at, because the book is coded. Now, the book has been rewritten several different times. You got the NIV, you got the King James Version, you got various versions that will come along every 10 years. They'll switch something up in the Bible. If you notice and pay attention to how they rewrite it a lot of times, even in the Lord's Prayer has been rewritten in the Bible. I'm just saying, it has been rewritten. And I'm going to give you an example. So in praying, it used to say, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, as above, so below. And then it will go on and say that you will forgive forgive us of our sins as we forgive those who have sinned against us. Well, now in the Bible, it reads that forgive our debt as we forgive our debtors. They keep switching it up, so you have to pay attention when things are being switched up on you. And I'm going to go a little bit further than that. The definition, what's up, Brother Lewis? The definition of the name INRI. I'm tradition. INR, natural is complete, renewed by fire. I appreciate that, boy. That's some of that primitive right stuff you just put down there, Brother Lewis. But in going on with the initiation process, he was being prepared at a young age to become what we call a high priest. And in order for him to transcend into the priesthood, he had to come by way of Melchizedek. And if you know anything in regards to the scriptures, Melchizedek is only mentioned maybe in a few of the, um, a few, yeah, Melchizedek. Yeah, he's only mentioned in about maybe one or two scriptures in the Bible. No one knows his comings or his goings. No one. Okay? But they knew that he was a high priest. So getting back to that, as the Christ man was being taught in his youth, as he was developing his skill set. Now you must understand this took place over on the continent. Okay, it took place over on the continent. So as he was being groomed into becoming a high priest and transcending that, what occurred in his life is that as he was going into the various places and temples and being mentored and then turning around and becoming a teacher, you must understand before he was baptized by John the Baptist, as told in the scripture, he had some issues going on. One is that, and I can be corrected, that before that he went to the temple and he found that they were gambling and doing all sorts of things in the temple, and therefore he got pretty upset, turned over the table money, exchanges, and it just was like, they say he was beating people or whooping people, whatever the transaction had and what was going on, that he was upset. He was in the temple because they had turned the Lord's house into something that was not meant to be. So he was pretty upset. So when you look at it from that point of view, and then as he progresses, you must realize that after, I want to make sure I say this right. It's either after or before. Let me put it that way. He was baptized. He had to go through the initiation of 40 days and 40 nights. Mind you, this is a spiritual thing, not an actual 40 days and 40 nights of fasting. It is a spiritual initiation process that he went through. And it became only physical when he was tested. And the process of him being tested, they say he was tested by Satan. But I beg to differ. I would tell you that he was tested more so by his own passions. He was tested by his own passions. And because even in Freemasonry, we learn to subdue our passions. And the thing was offered to him. If you would do these things, see, his passion was tested. If you would do these things, if you would bow down, if you would submit, if you would just give in, let you and do these things, this will be offered to you. So those are passions. The passions of this world was offered to him in the process of receiving something greater. But in the process of the initiation part, he had to learn to subdue his passions. So when that time came for him to be tested, tried, never denied, and will be tried again, he passed the test, because before he even got there, he had already went into a fasting mode. He was already beginning to set himself up to go through this battle of passion. He already had set himself up to have a understanding of what's going to be waiting for him in the end game. So when he went and faced himself, which we could say it was the devil, Antichrist, when he went to face himself, that is what he dealt with. He dealt with his passion. Okay? So when he learned to do his passion, and all of the things of the world was offered to him, there he found himself being ministered to by angels. I like to call them ancestors, or those who was guided to take care of him. And I believe in my own studies that we all have angels, ancestors, mothers and fathers who have gone before us, that watches over us, that keeps us. That is my own personal. The temptation was within his mind, not physical. Absolutely. So as we proceed in his life, and as the brother said, the temptation was within his mind, not physical. It's both physical and mental. And I add the physical part in because if you've ever gone through a fast, and while you're going through that fast, all you can think about is eating. I want to eat. I want to drink some water. I want to do. It's like I need this stuff now. You know, the stuff you're denying yourself in the process of fasting, you need it now. Yeah, indeed. Great information in the Circle of Seven Brothers from the Valley of Kings. What's going on, my brother? Lafayette, Louisiana. So as he was going through that process, he found himself again at war with himself and denying himself those things that was offered to him. So in the process of fasting, he had prepared himself to ascend above self. So as it is in the Lord's Prayer, as above, so below. So you have to, when you crack that book open, uh, the Bible, basic instructions before leaving earth, you must understand that this book is coded. It is not the first book and it probably won't be the last, but in understanding this particular book, you must be able to break down words in translation. Let me tell you why. Because words that are translated into another language is sometimes lost. You know, those who speak various languages know that there are some words you can't find to compensate for another person's language. You have to find something different in trying to relate those words. Gotta stay tuned to this brother work. So this is where we're at. So back to this initiation process. I also believe that the man Christ in his 40 days mental status and spiritual fight of fasting and his initiation, he went into the pyramids. And you may say, why do you consider that Christ man went into the pyramids to be initiated? Because that was a process. Those pyramids was there long before the Christ man came along. Long before the prophet, the Messiah, as you may want to call him, came along, those pyramids was there. And it was built for particular reasons. Within those pyramids, there are rooms. There are the death. As a matter of fact, in the pyramids themselves, they go down. They don't go up. They go down into the earth. Even though it may look like it's built up, it's a square built on equal sides. It's a square built on equal sides. So in going into the initiation rites, you will notice that the Christ man, after serving and defeating his passion and becoming a master at it, a master at defeating his passion, he then became the example of how you and I should live our lives. And in the process of finding that out, in the process of breaking all of that down, he became godlike. He became godlike. And in becoming godlike, even the Messiah said in the various Bibles that you may find, be ye as I am, one with my Father. Be like me. You know, I am the example. You know, so in having that understanding, you want to be able to set the example of how to be godlike. And this is why even in Freemasonry, when you get into these various degrees, it is an attempt to take you to another level in your thought process. It is an attempt to open your mind up to something different. It is an attempt to enlighten you, to illuminate you on something bigger than just you. This is why in Freemasonry it says that it is a fatherhood of God, the brotherhood of man. It unites men in those two fashions. Ashe. It unites men in those two fashions. But what happened is man gets a hold to something great, and we flip it. We put limitations on the very thing that is supposed to unite us. We put limitations on them. And what happens when you put the limitations on those things that's supposed to unite you, they become useless. They don't have their thrill, that goal, that they don't have that umph anymore. So this is why even in Freemasonry, we notice that it has lost its glit and its glow, because what we have done is we have put limitations on Freemasonry. This is what we have done for those who are in leaderships in the various jurisdictions. And when you do that, then Masonry doesn't necessarily meet its expectations, because it is said even in Freemason that, you know, brothers are not limited in traveling. They're not. Sisters, The same thing goes for you, especially here in the United States. You are not limited in just traveling, but what happens is when you put limitations on those things and you're going through these various initiations and these rites, and you then don't receive the rights and lights and privileges of the thing that you've gone through, it doesn't exceed anything. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do. There are those coming after me that will do even greater works than me, he said. Absolutely. So that lets you know that we have the potential, if we choose to do greater works. If we choose to, but most of us don't. Because the first thing we will limit ourselves and say, well, ain't nobody perfect. Huh. Be ye as perfect because I'm perfect. So I don't limit myself. And the first thing will come, well, nobody should judge. That's another lie. Ask, seek, knock. Absolutely. So when we put limitations on the very thing that we so desire, it doesn't reach its potential because you have limited that. Most of us put limits on God. Most of us put limits on ourselves. We do that daily. Man, I can't do that, man. I can't do that. Nah, man, no. What are you talking about? Nah, man, I never do that. Never say never, because when circumstances and situations arrive in your life, you're going to find yourself at a door. You're going to find yourself at a door. And it's going to be your choice to go through that door or that door remains closed. Trust me. Don't ever say what you will never do until you are at that door in your life. Please don't do that yourself. I'm talking from experience. Don't say what you won't do until you're at that door. And you're going to have a choice to either open that door or to walk past it. And because of the pleasures of that door and what lies behind that door, most of us are going to open that door. Most of us are going to open that door just because, it's in us. We're going to open that door. Plain and simple. It's not rocket science. But in the process of looking at the Christ man and the works that he went through to achieve the high priest status of Melchizedek, when you look at that, that's when he was able to transcend. Although you will look when he went on the mountain of transfiguration, there they looked and they seen him transcend and they didn't know what to say. Some say you're Moses, some say you're Elijah. They just went on with the various of prophets, but they said, well, who do you say I am? The Son of God, Son of Man. Well, aren't we all the sons of God, the daughters of God, the Son of Man? Aren't we all that? This is why it's important for you to remove limitations. This is why it's important for you to meditate. This is why it's important for you to look at Freemasonry and the Order of the Eastern Star from a whole different perspective beyond what you've been taught. This is why it's important to get various books. There are some books out there, I call them spooky books. I'm not going to lie to you. Because, hey, Jennifer, how you doing? It's good to see you. Congratulations on your birth. Congratulations. So this is why I say, for the most part, the books that are out there, I mean, there's some, man, I have some books in my library that brothers have given me. We have given me a whole new outlook, a whole new perspective on Freemasonry and what you can actually do with it. I mean, do with it. I'm not just talking about, oh, that's my brother, that's my sister. I mean really magic. and not be afraid of it. Hello and thank you. You're so welcome. I mean, I'm talking magic, not just anything. I'm really talking about taking Freemasonry and really looking into it for what it is, and really understanding what's written down in your rituals. And there are some old rituals, Masonic rituals out there. How to understand your Bible by, oh yeah. But see, even getting that book by Manly P. Hall, Brother Lewis, and you turned me on to that. Some people are not going to be able to take that because what they've been given and what they're reading is not necessarily going to be the thing that they want to hear, see, and read for themselves. They're not going to really want to get into it, because even when you look at Christianity itself can be an occult. Oh yeah. Yeah, most certainly. And this is what I enjoy about Freemasonry, the mere fact that it says you're free. Your thought process is free. You're free to think and to do. And that's the uniqueness of the organization itself. The society itself says these things. However, because we no longer adhere to the penalties of our obligation that we take, most of us don't take the organization serious anymore as we should. We don't. Most of us don't do that. Most of us see Masonry as just an organization or social club. And some of us take it to heart and really see it as a society to help one to become better in life. Because if you take Masonry for what it is and you begin to apply that very thing for which you have obligated yourself to, you will see the transfiguration within yourself. You see that. And if you don't ever see yourself grow, then something ain't right. I can honestly say I've seen myself grow. I have seen that growth in myself. And that is because I pay attention to me. I look at me. I can't judge anybody unless I judge myself. And when you are comfortable with that, man, that's a whole nother ball game. When you are comfortable with knowing exactly who you are, that's a whole nother thing. Called a system of religious veneration and devotion, decorated toward a particular figure or object. Absolutely, absolutely. You Christians, ooh wee. You Catholics, ooh wee. And this is just not to throw anything out there, but just go look at the definition for yourself. Go look at it. You tell me what you think. You tell me what you think, and that is the beauty of the society that I enjoy in my travels and those who I've talked to personally over the phone. I enjoy those deep conversations that we have in regards to this society of Freemason and the Order of the Eastern Star and how things are broken down. This is why when you take and you apply the initiation of Christ to that of a Mason, you can see the very resemblance of what's actually taking place and what you're supposed to be and become in the end. Plain and simple. It is not rocket science. Greetings to you, Joshua. How you doing? Appreciate it. So as we venture deeper down the rabbit hole, and I do want to go down the rabbit hole, and I don't know how many of you want to go down the rabbit hole with me, but I want to go down the rabbit hole. And I've gone down there before, and I tell you, for anybody who goes down that rabbit hole, please drop some breadcrumbs. Because it's going to be difficult when you come across information that's going to change your thought process. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. The irony of the topic, I'm not a Freemason at the moment, but I get initiated. When? You get initiated next week. I'll tell you what, brother. When you get initiated, pay attention to everything that's going on around you. With an attentive ear. Pay close attention. The best initiations are the real initiations. And when I say real initiations, and I just said the best initiations. The best initiations to me are the real initiations. That's when they're outdoors, under a starry, covery deck, not in a building, but outside. That to me is some of the best initiations that a person can experience, because then they can literally apply it and look at it for what it is. So look, I hope as always that you've gotten something out of this, but go back and look at Christ in his process of becoming a high priest, and you will see the initiation play out at hand. That you will. So until next time, peace and be well, and whatever you do, stay out the bushes, keep your light on. I'm out. Somebody's trying to call me, and this ain't working. I'm sorry, but anyway, I got a little break in there. Somebody was trying to call me, but hey, look, everybody, be blessed on this day and enjoy yourself. And whatever you do, always remember your brothers and sisters in your prayer. Do that. Greetings, brothers. I love your videos, and they have enlightened me. Thank you, and I appreciate that. And keep in touch, everybody. Keep in touch, and remember, you know, hey, life is just a span of sand. Before you know it, it's gone. Be blessed.